Part 1. The Other Cabin. Original U.S. horror story. American narrative style. I've lived in Montana all my life. Hunting, tracking, working the land, those weren't hobbies for me. They were just normal. My dad taught me everything. How to follow deer prints through wet soil, how to listen for something breathing behind the tree line, and how to stay calm when the woods suddenly go quiet. By the time I became a licensed hunter and part-time guide for tourists, I knew the national forest better than my own damn living room. Or, at least, I thought I did. The thing that happened last fall still keeps me awake at night, and I don't scare easy. But what I saw in those trees, what I found, no hunter is trained for that. The first sign. It started in October, peak elk season. I was scouting alone, something I probably shouldn't do anymore. The woods were bone dry and yellow, the wind sharp, the smell of cold winter starting to creep in. Around noon, I spotted a trail I didn't recognize. That bothered me immediately. There are no new trails this deep in the forest. Not unless someone, or something, makes them. The path wasn't natural, too straight, too clean, like someone had been sweeping the forest floor. Who the hell sweeps a forest? I followed it for maybe 20 minutes when something else caught my eye. A roofline through the trees. Looked like a small cabin, dark wood, brick chimney, same faded green metal roof as mine. It took a full minute before my brain caught up. That wasn't possible. My cabin was miles away, but the cabin ahead of me looked exactly like mine. Same porch, same little rocking chair, same dent on the gutter from the 2021 hailstorm. My stomach dropped. My cabin wasn't supposed to be here. The duplicate. I approached slowly, rifle up, every nerve in my body screaming that this wasn't right. I stepped onto the boards and they creaked. The exact same creak pattern as my cabin. No birds, no bugs. The woods were dead quiet. I tried to steady my breathing, then reached for the doorknob. It turned, unlocked, just like I always leave mine. Inside, I swear on my life, it was an exact replica. The same couch, the same deer mount above the stone fireplace, the same scratch on the wood floor where my boot once dragged. There was even a mug sitting on the table, my chipped ceramic mug with the faded Yellowstone logo. I felt sick. This wasn't a copy. This wasn't someone recreating my cabin. It was my cabin, down to every flaw and mistake. But I knew, absolutely knew, mine still sat on the ridge 3 miles north. I backed out slowly, heart hammering. That's when I noticed something else. Footprints. Dozens of them. Bare, human, and circling the cabin in a perfect ring. Going around and around and around. Like someone walked in loops for hours or days. The Watcher. I followed the tracks only a few yards before the forest shifted. If you've ever hunted deep woods, you know this feeling. When the silence tightens around you, when even the wind holds its breath, when you're no longer alone. I raised my rifle and scanned the tree line. Nothing. I took one step back toward the cabin, and that's when something snapped a branch behind me. A slow, heavy, deliberate step. Too heavy for a deer, too slow for a bear, and too calm for a human in the middle of the forest. I didn't turn around. My instinct screamed, "Don't look! Just walk! Walk away now!" I took 3 steps, then 4. Another step behind me. Closer. Soft, wet sounding. Then a breath. Right behind my ear. I ran. Didn't look back. Didn't stop. Didn't breathe until I reached my truck. When I got home to my real cabin, everything looked normal. Except one thing. On my front door, drawn in mud, was a handprint. Huge. Human. But the fingers were too long. Wrong. Bent slightly backward, like they had too many joints. That night, something walked on my deck until sunrise. Pacing. Scratching. Breathing. I didn't sleep at all. 2 days later, I went back with a deputy, my friend Mark. He knew these woods almost as well as I did. But when we returned to the spot where I found the duplicate cabin, there was nothing. No cabin, no clearing, not even disturbed soil. Just untouched forest. Mark laughed it off, said I probably had woods brain from being out too long. But later that night, he called me. His voice shaking, he said, "Man, I don't think you were wrong. I've been checking something. You need to come over. Now." The footage. When I got to his place, he looked pale, almost sick. He pulled up the trail cam footage from the night I came home terrified, and I saw myself walking into my cabin. Calm, normal, carrying my rifle on my back, entering at 5:04 p.m. Exactly what I did. Except I was still in the woods at 5:04 p.m., running for my life, miles away. Mark looked at me and whispered, "That thing we saw on the camera, that wasn't you." I froze. My blood went cold. Because the video showed something else too. When I stepped inside, the door closed, and a hand, long fingers, bent backward, pulled the curtain shut.
Part 2. The Man Who Wasn't Me. The next morning, Ranger Cole didn't report what he saw. How could he? A park ranger claiming the forest showed him a version of himself walking into the night. No one would believe him. Yellowstone had its share of myths, missing hikers, strange sounds, but this was different. His head pounded from lack of sleep as he walked toward the command cabin. The tall lodgepole pines swayed like they were whispering to each other, and every time the wind moved, it felt like something was breathing behind him. Inside the cabin, 2 rangers, Miller and Davenport, were already reviewing missing person reports from the last 48 hours. "Cole," Miller said, "did you check the North Ridge trail cams last night? We got a motion alert." Cole froze. "Yeah? I checked. Must have been an animal." Miller shrugged. "Strange. The timestamp triggered twice." Twice. Meaning someone or something passed the same area 2 times. But Cole only saw one figure, one impossible figure. Before he could think more, Davenport called out, "Guys, we got another one." Another missing hiker. Near the same ridge, near the same camera that had filmed Cole's double. His stomach dropped. The forest calls him again. Cole volunteered to lead the search. He didn't want anyone else to see whatever was out there pretending to be him. The deeper he entered the woods, the more wrong the forest felt. The trees leaned unnaturally, almost bending toward him as if listening. Even the air carried a metallic taste, cold, sharp, electric. Then he heard it, a voice, whispering, very soft, but unmistakably his own voice. Cole. His blood turned cold. He spun around. No one. Cole. This way. He aimed his flashlight at a hollow between two boulders. The beam flickered, once, twice, and stabilized. There were footprints. Fresh. Human. His size. He knelt, touched the soil. Still warm. Whatever was copying him was close. The body in the trees. He followed the trail to a clearing. Sunlight barely broke through the dense canopy. The air was too still, unnaturally silent. That's when he saw it. Hanging, 8 feet above the ground. A man. Naked. Pale. Face frozen in terror. The missing hiker. But that wasn't the part that made Cole stagger back. The hiker's fingernails had clawed deep scars into the tree bark, and above the claw marks, smeared in blood, were the words, "Don't trust him. He isn't you." Cole's breath caught. He grabbed his radio. "Base! This is Ranger Cole. I found the missing hiker. He's—" Static. Nothing else. The radio died. Then a branch snapped behind him. He whipped around. Flashlight raised, and the world seemed to tilt. Standing 10 feet away was another Cole. Same height, same jacket, same boots, same scar above his right eyebrow. But the eyes were wrong. Too dark, too deep. Like holes leading into a place that wasn't human. The double tilted its head, studying him like prey. Cole whispered, What are you?" The double smiled, a slow, tearing, unnatural smile. Then it spoke, using his exact voice. "You came looking for me," running from himself. Cole ran. Branches slashed his arms, roots grabbed his boots. The forest seemed alive, trying to slow him down. Behind him, the clone didn't run. It glided, silent as a shadow. Cole reached a fallen log, vaulted over, and dove into thick brush. He held his breath as the clone passed inches from him. Its footsteps didn't sound like steps. They sounded like cracking bones. It stopped, turned its head slowly, too slowly, to the left. Then it whispered again, "I know where you sleep." Cole kept his hand over his mouth, shaking, until the creature drifted deeper into the trees. The footage. The terrifying truth. He sprinted back to the station cabin and slammed the door behind him. His hands trembled as he rewound the CCTV feed from last night. He scrubbed through the footage. There. A shadow. A figure. Walking into the woods. He zoomed in. The face. The uniform. The motion. It wasn't normal sounding. The audio track had voices layered under the static, hundreds of whispering voices. He enhanced the video. And then, Cole felt the world fall out from under him. It wasn't just one figure entering the woods. It was three. 3 identical versions of him, all walking in different directions, all at the same time. And one of them turned and stared directly into the camera, into him, smiling. Under the video timecode, a message flickered in distorted pixels. "You shouldn't be here." The final realization. Cole backed away from the screen. His mind raced, heart hammering. He whispered, "This forest, It's creating copies. The cabin lights flickered. The radio crackled. A voice, his own voice, came through the static. "Cole, come outside." He froze. Outside the window, 3 silhouettes, standing perfectly still, perfectly identical, all staring at his cabin, and they whispered in unison, "We want our place back."